I made it work.
You made it
It's
work?
fine.
Thank God. Okay. Cool. You ready to just jump in then?
Sure.
All right.
Last we talked, I like the messages we were able to send each other recently. I got some major upgrades. It was about a year ago last time I did a full
Mm-hmm.
progression, and since then the account has just kind of shaped itself. You know, got the 8K Legion, got all the relevant link skills, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada yada. Kept doing the dailies, and now here I am. That's the point where I don't know what else to do anymore or how to plan for the upgrades. So,
Yeah. I see
mhm.
you were at 250 before then.
Yes.
Oh, that's about a year ago. And
And
you're.
before you ask, I did change to Paladin for about 10 months or
Oh,
nine
okay.
months. Yeah, it's reverted. Mainly because of the mobbing and the fact that job change coins don't exist anymore. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't like people
that my
swapping
goal
around.
was to liberate with my party, have the sacro OP, and then go back to hero. But
Mm-hmm.
plans were foiled when I discovered that it would cost like 5 bill to change class. So yikes.
Yeah, every switch, and then it gets more progressively expensive. Is there a ceiling on it, or just keep going? I don't even know.
You know what? Last I checked, I was 269 when I
Mm-hmm.
did the switch. It was 4 bill at that time, so probably it
Okay.
has no ceiling, is my guess.
Yeah, I guess it just keeps going. Just more and more prohibitively expensive. Yeah. Um,
Exactly.
so does that mean with all of that that you did decide to like you're doing black mage and all that stuff? Did you do two-handed sword there then?
We aren't at that starting point yet. We don't lack the damage. We're just waiting on one of our party members to liberate. In other words, he's got another party he's running with,
Mm-hmm.
um, taken ahead of us because he played a lot more than our main party.
Mm-hmm.
But our main party for, the last 10 months, we were all around the point I was back then, 250 to 52, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're all kind of getting ready. Practicing and all that. We're just waiting. He's liberating like a month and a half, and then we'll start officially. So
Okay, and what's holding you guys back from like just starting now and then he
he
like for 2 months and then he kind of takes the place of of a fill or
he's the
something?
biggest source of our damage,
Mm-hmm. I see.
and like in a big way,
Okay.
probably. Yeah. So we don't feel confident starting without him,
All right, but
basically.
everyone else is like around your stat. Like, do you know everyone's BAs and stuff?
Yes, our shade is the lowest BA. However, it's shade, so
Mm-hmm.
poor guy. um, we're all sitting like over 43K stat, 270 plus, and we're a party of five.
Mm-hmm.
And our main damage is another hero level 280 now. So, but he's currently liberating, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is sitting. I'm at oh shit, what was my last BA? I think I have it in my garbage bin. Hang on a second. There you go, restore. In 2 minutes, I was at 65. Is that right? Uh,
Could be right. Yeah. 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 We could see if we can bump that up a bit, but does not sound impossible. If I check everything else, for stat wise and for level 270, you're doing it on a 275, so there's definitely that damage reduction. Are you guys
right.
planning to like try to edge out those last levels or get closer to that by the other guy libering?
Well,
That sounds like a no.
We're all sort of casual, man.
Gotcha.
That's why
Okay.
the progress has been
Yeah.
kind of like last time. We figured, oh wow, you already have all the arcanes max and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
gear, but I was only 250. That's why, because we don't really grind. We only
Yes.
do
Yes. Yeah.
dailies and get like 4% a day, and
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess I
uh,
should know with being okay for like waiting an extra 2 months to start liberating, which is already an 8 month process. Then you have to have some kind of patience.
there you go. So the last time you told me patience is like one of the biggest factors in upgrading. Well,
Mm-hmm.
look where I'm at now. So And it all kind of panned out after you given me that advice.
Mm-hmm.
I never lacked that aspect. Therefore, I've made significant gains.
Okay, that's
So
good. That's good.
yeah, and
Is it?
it's thanks to your advice. But now I'm like, okay, what next?
Mm-hmm.
Since I've achieved most of the stuff back then that you recommended me. So yeah.
All right. So, so how has it been? I guess the transition from 250 to 270. You felt like that went well, or were there certain things that you came up with where it was like you had to struggle hard to get through that?
Um, the I think the main aspect is basically trying to guarantee income
Mm-hmm.
because I have three bossing mules that I religiously have done the bosses on, but due to my schedule and everything, I often miss Ursus and Maple Tour and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I've come to realize that literally, like at this stage, levels, Serenium dailies, sure, they're really mandatory and helpful. However, just brute forcing through Meso is what's
Mm-hmm.
basically the rest of the game. Like I don't know how else to say it. It's literally just backups and Meso. So uh, yeah,
Yeah, if you're trying
that's
to
the
get the
point I'm at.
22s in there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, eventually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see the items
Yeah, a
I
few
have. They're
arcane backups. Yeah.
right, progressively, exactly. But the arcanes, last time I checked, you told me to 21 them, and then like dead last, it would be the ones that I 22. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Um, Gollux is kind of a bitch, not gonna lie. The coins I feel are like very slow to accumulate, even though I do it daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I haven't been lucky with my Gollux, I guess. They've mostly boomed. I only have the belt at 22, I think, so.
Yeah, that seems to be the one that actually wants to drop, right? And the
Well,
earrings. Yeah, the earrings are still 17.
exactly, and there you go. So all my superior backups, I've been really, really dry for the last like 3 or 4 months. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the last two superiors I had were belts. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. The one you don't need.
So
Yeah, wait until you get into pitched and then you finally get 122 pitch and then that's the only one that drops and it's like, well, this is the one I don't
mhm,
need. Can I exchange this in some way? Can I get this on another
there you go.
character? Nope.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're very aware, like how it feels when you're at that stage is very, how should I say, prohibited, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just feel like even though you run all the hard bosses with 426% drop rate, you just
Yeah, so that's when I
yeah.
start looking for projects where I can still guarantee an upgrade with, you know, with amounts of money that I can still like count in my head and conceptualize and just like pronounce the. Was it like quadrillions or quintillions? Once you start getting into that area, you probably want to start looking at different ways. So if you are more casual about this character and it's more about like we'll have the damage and we're just doing practice runs and it's going to be like slow levels mainly through dailies, that kind of stuff. The being reliant on the timing for Ursus and Maple Tour and all that stuff. I mean, in the end, that money's nice, but like, if you spend 3 minutes a day or like 4 minutes a day doing all the Ursus runs and doing Maple Tour, and that's like, maybe that's like 5 minutes a day. Over 1 week, that's 35 minutes. If you do one bossing mule, that's the same amount of money, but it's just like in one block of half an hour that you can choose in the entire week instead, right?
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah,
You're right.
so
Yeah,
so
that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, so that would make more sense for you if you have like a schedule that just doesn't. It's like all over the place. It doesn't really overlap with when you need to be at the right. You can't be at channel 18 at -5. Every day to join the gang.
Exactly.
Then that's
Hmm.
fine that you just do that stuff on your own time. But I would be looking at if you look at those huge projects for those final 22 stars and waiting for coins that just take a long time to build up. I usually start looking at other projects. So is that like another character that I like playing? Is there maybe some people in the guild are playing a different class and they're at a different stage. So I usually look at characters in terms of like what stage of the game is it in, like what content can it do. So I like to have characters at all the stages where they can kind of like join a party and help out, but they're not a hyper carry, but also they're not getting carried. So that for every piece of content, I somewhat have a character that can basically fulfill that role. But I don't. That's something that works for me. That's something that I like to do. But a lot of people past a certain point, they would like to be able to just dedicate all of the resources into one character, and then you might hit a wall on certain resources, and then you're just forced to wait, right?
Yeah, which is what I feel like is the point I'm at right now, pretty much. It's mostly time gated and meso gated is where we're at.
So
except for Black Mage and Liberation, like you said, but that took
exactly
10 months. So yeah.
So I mean, the two major things, if I just look at the stuff that you have, two major things I would say that from what I can tell is, I guess I don't have the Legion pictures here, but I'm guessing like build more Legion mules.
8.2k, and I have the maxed out crit damage, maxed out boss damage, some crit rate, and like 4 or 5 blocks missing in ID. That's my bossing setup.
So
because, hero crit rate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one thing that can help is if you get really high Legion, but I'm talking like 9.5k, then you can roll out of the crit rate inability. You can get enough with just hyperstats, and then actually get like extra damage or drop rate there, depending on if you want to get some pitched or if you just want to max your damage for the bossing. The other thing that would give you just a lot of damage, I would save you a whole bunch of money, would be an Oz ring.
Oh yeah, that
yeah, might not be what you want to hear, but just to put it out there, people would say like, why didn't he mention Oz ring? Because as a hero, you've got that 20-second burst, but if you can get an Oz ring during that, like your BA will love you, and your overall damage output to a boss like the Black Mage will increase tremendously.
Which is, what our main hero has is like the difference is gigantic.
Yeah,
like you
it's
said.
the level, right? The level advantage final damage, and then the ring. Like those two things will probably impact your damage more than like 100 bill mesos will. So if you're trying to, don't see making mesos as the end goal, because the end goal is to get stronger, right? So you want to look at a little bit more wide on like how do you get stronger. But again, those are your options. So if you just don't like grinding, which I can totally respect, you may be not a fan of Oz, and we have the changes coming in New Age where the boxes are going to drop, that kind of stuff. And if you think like with that party member we're going to have enough damage anyway, and it's more about practice and getting the hands and just not dying out, like that's the more important part. Then I try to look at the flexibility of like a bossing mule in terms of like, take a half-hour ear, make like 1.2 bill, and then that'll be very efficient use of your time, I think. But I don't know if you already feel like you're capping out.
Which it has been, for sure. And currently I'm doing the Wind Archer through Hyperburning. But the concept I'm starting to agree with the more and more I play is the idea of a sub-main or second main, like you mentioned earlier to me. I think like if put everything into perspective, I think that would not be a bad idea at this point to start, saving for big updates, kind of like Shining for my main. But outside of doing 25 minutes of dailies in Cernium and then logging out and Monster Park Extreme, which is exactly what I do on the main.
Yeah,
and
you're getting no
bosses with my friends, obviously.
Yeah, you're getting no instant gains anymore, right? Because even if you
no.
get a pitch piece, it's like, okay, well now I have to just wait until the next event and then pray and then hope maybe it goes somewhere. It becomes harder.
Exactly. I have the resilience and the patience to wait for the events, like you've told me to do. Which
like when you start, it's like constant like gain, and then you kind of get hooked on that, and then you get to the end game. It's like maybe a gain in 2 months. Oh boy, maybe a drop this year, might be next year. Who knows? So if you want to somewhat keep that pace and somewhat keep that feeling of I'm actually still progressing in the game, side character, or if you work on bossing mules, just the overall amount of money you can make in a week. And then that shortens the periods in between the upgrades as well. Again, when it comes to certain pieces at least, but not when it comes to all pieces, of course.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Can I ask what made you end up in this situation with the current Dominator pendant and still be in here?
Uh, you know, hating Commercy is part of it, as
Mm-hmm.
in feeling that it was useless to after the change to put it into a Sweetwater pendant,
Mm-hmm.
feeling that it was useless.
Mm-hmm.
Having hopes for I don't know, Daybreak or even Sus, which is
Yeah.
a kind of a wishful
Yeah. Yeah,
thinking.
not sauce, but sus. Yeah, exactly. Like you said.
Sus because it never
Yeah,
drops. It's
it's
sus.
it's
Mm-hmm.
impasta. So wait,
Mm-hmm.
no daybreaks have dropped, or
No, I don't have a Daybreak yet.
and are you running RVL in a party?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there
We
any kind of
literally clear everything up to Black
mm-hmm.
Mage
Is
pretty
there
easily.
any aspiration to solo Hard
uh,
Well, you're laughing, but like I did it on my hero. It was a long run though, but I have no Ozring there, but I'm around the same stat as you, but a level 250. So you've got some final damage advantage on you. It was with the
mhm.
event buffs though, so that did help quite a bit. But yeah, my hero was able to do it like within the time limit. The thing is just, everything already takes forever. But if you multiply it by 6 for a full party, then it just takes, if it takes 2 months, that's like overseeable. But now you have a party of 6, now it's a year, right?
Yeah.
Um, it sucks
Splitting
though.
up
Yeah.
is at the very least splitting up would be wise for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We have grown as a party to be way too comfortable on everyone having healing fams and fucking
Yeah.
being able to tank like green
Yeah,
and
it's like
then
green, like you
purple
don't even call it out
and
anymore.
then the corpse exactly there you go. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh
And the run is like what,
that
3 minutes or 4 minutes? Even it's like two or
it's
three
4 minutes,
bursts. Yeah,
4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
yeah. So why
So
not have it be like
you're right.
7 to 8
You're right.
minutes, and then give
Mhm.
everyone double the chance at the drops, right? When you get that strong, I mean, it kind of sucks. It would be funny if you just all still say in the Discord, do 2 runs at once and do all the call outs like mixed through each other just to make it a little bit more fun or something. But on the other hand as well, like turning up the fire a little bit on the boss fight and putting a little bit more pressure on you so you don't kind of get complacent in bossing mechanics is also good if you're going to be moving into Black Mage, because you can never be complacent in Black Mage. If you are, you just lose like 8 lives in like 20 seconds and you're just out. You have to be on for the whole boss fight. And of course, you get stronger and stronger, and then you make the boss fight shorter, and you don't have to be on for as long, but you have to be focused for Black Mage, because it'll just, spit you, like eat you up and spit you out. Like it's not, yeah,
Mhm.
it's not very non-forgiving. So
No, you're right, and we've been considering it for a while now. We're just really it's complacency and
mm-hmm.
laziness. There's nothing like we're all very busy grown men now,
Mm-hmm.
and we literally just setting up a time. Okay, can we do the bosses now? Yes, okay, and then scheduling like an hour each other on Discord and partying up and doing it, and then everyone logs off. Even that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we get one or the other who can't even join. So
Mm-hmm.
uh yeah, but splitting up would be wise for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not like we can't do it, of
yeah, and you
course.
also have fewer people that you need to get it in the same room at the same time, right? So it
Hmm.
might make scheduling easier. But yeah, but don't lose touch with each other, right? Like send memes and send weird gifs at each other. Just like keep the magic alive there. Because what can definitely happen is you like switch parties or you split up, is that suddenly you just lose contact with someone as well. That has happened to me quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you try to. Sometimes you just hang on to certain parties that you don't really need to be in, but you just want to be there just to hang out and just to touch base every now and then, and that's pretty cool.
For me, it's very easy. It's all my real life friends though.
Okay,
We're
okay,
literally a
that's
group of
nice.
5 guys. We see each other in real life, everything. So yeah, in that sense, it makes it much easier, and we'll never, not be in contact. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, even through, our irregular schedules, like sometimes I work nights, days, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that regard, it's harder. But yeah, essentially, what I wanted you to kind of guide me on was
Sure.
the path forward, pretty much. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in this stage. It's the furthest I've gone in this game. It's
Mm-hmm.
furthest I've been. It's the most consistent I've ever played this game for now. Like the past 2 years in reboot, it's been great, much better than Reg Surfers. Um, and yeah, I have no idea what to do.
So how did
Essentially.
you the 250 to 270? How did you kind of walk me through how you made that move?
It was back when there were still totems. I remember you said
Mm-hmm.
now it's time to go hard and farm meso, which is what I did. And throughout that, I gained a couple levels with the totems for sure. I got to like closer to 260 in that frame in Limina, and then I farmed fucking what was it, 90 bill, I remember, close to 100,
Mm-hmm.
and got huge upgrades. I think I 22 to no, back then it was 17 to 21 is what you yeah, at
Mm-hmm.
21 like fucking 10 pieces of gear or something. It
Yeah, oh
was
yeah.
crazy, man.
Massive
Yeah, I
stuff. There's
jumped.
so much weapon attack, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
games I made, the last Shining was immense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it started to slowly but surely get uh
Normal.
slower, exactly, yes.
Yeah, it was just fast before. Yeah.
The items I were able to finish, quote unquote, I started throwing more cubes at just to try and finish them for real, even though
Mm-hmm.
I settled on fake three lines.
Yep.
Because I always remembered the notion that you told me is Star Force is so much better than cubing at that stage. So
Yep.
I stuck with that for, even today you can see my items, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, potentials are
that stayed
okay, but
true.
yeah, you want to get the star forcing
Mhm.
done, the realistic gains, because that's the other thing as well, right? Like, let's say one of your projects is like, oh, I want to get I want to get the earrings to 21 or to 22, but like no earrings drop, and I just don't have the coins. Well, then that could
Yeah.
mean that next time there's a cubing event, you just go harder on the cubing first on the stuff that's 22, and you just try to, get those gains done, because there's no sense of sitting on 300 bill if you're probably only going to be able to spend like 40, and then the item is actually going to either go or boom, then that extra money can be working for you
Hmm.
in the meantime. So that's when
Exactly.
you are allowed to, splurge a little bit on the potentials.
On the finished items. Yeah, there you
Yeah, or
go.
like a Twilight mark, like you're waiting either for a Berserk or for Twilight backups. Like until you have them, you can, I mean, you can work on its potential or on other items' potential. You don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily halt like all investment in your character.
And yeah, exactly. And then the Sweetwater monocle, even though it's only 21, I'm not gonna touch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, it's a good place to sit at. 21 is more than enough,
Yep. Yeah, that's
or
good.
to suit my needs or whatever I want to clear. So, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
mainly was trying to get
Well,
some guidance as in.
for Black Mage,
Mhm.
you do still want to make some gains, right? So for DPS, typically you want to be at the lower end. You want to be at around like 75 build per second is like a good like like minimum target to hit as a DPS, because just because you hit that number on a dummy, going from there to actually translating that damage onto the boss fight,
The
mainly
boss.
onto phase
Mhm.
3, is already going to be quite an ordeal, just because of all the mechanics going on.
I had
So
a question because the last
hmm
time I did a BA, it was a 2-minute one. Is
hmm
that correct or incorrect?
yeah, so for those bosses you basically want to do full rotation. There could be some, yeah, you might have to take some things into consideration when you look at the party composition. So if there's I don't know which classes are in the party.
Pathfinder, Night Lord, Hero twice,
hmm
Shade.
okay, and no kana or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay. Because you might have to look at like the synchronization of skills, right? But if you don't have like a major, you do have the Night Lord for damage, but if there's only
Yeah.
one
And
three,
our hero is on crack. He
yeah,
has a war almost gen weapon. So
yeah. So that's all gonna
yeah.
be. So you're mainly gonna be focusing on a 2 minute burst rotation,
Yes.
which means that favors you. So you do want to do just
Hmm.
like a full rotation. When you're doing a 2 minute, make sure you don't like start your burst again at the end, right? You want to just like one rotation of all of your burst skills and just see how much
Hmm.
damage that does, and that'll give you
Okay.
like, yeah.
So the last time I did a 2 minute of full rotation was about 3 weeks ago. That was closer to 80 bill a second
Okay, okay,
on the Black Mage dummy. Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, yeah.
Because the one I did for 4 minutes was different. Like I said, it was 60 something. I don't know why it dropped so significantly. Maybe, I
Hmm.
don't know, I screwed it up or whatever, but yeah, the 2 minute one was closer to 80 on the Black Mage dummy. Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
did gain some levels. Anyways, whatever. It's
Maybe a debuff dropped or something. Like your self buffs usually are like 3 minutes, right? So if it's 4 minutes, maybe they fell off. Like the
mhm. Something happened for
one of your
sure. Yeah.
debuffs, right? It's fuck, I don't remember what it's
Puncture.
called.
Puncture.
Puncture is the one you have to apply actively, right? But the other one, the scarring
Yes.
sword or something. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
if you forget to reapply that one, I don't know if you have auto buff, but if you forget to maybe,
Yes.
okay,
On
then
the pets. Mhm.
that's probably not it then. But I notice sometimes I'm attacking a boss and I'm like, oh my god, how long has the debuff been gone? You know, and that's like, oh shit, just
For
press that
sure.
button. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, yeah. Well, that's also why it's good to just take a long test versus a short one, because if something goes wrong in a short test, then you can extrapolate, or something goes really well in a short test, you can extrapolate more of an error if you try to extend that to like scale that to a longer duration. But if you take a longer test, then any kind of small errors or small benefits kind of get equalized over a long period of time, and then that's a better predictor. Like if you're doing a BA when you're training, right? You don't want to do like a 30-second test and then do times
Hmm.
120 and then this will be my hourly rate, because that could be way off. But if you do
Hmm.
a 10-hour test and then you take 10% of that, then that'll probably be pretty close to 1 hour rate that you can do. It's always better to do it that way. But yeah, if you're
Absolutely.
closer to 80, then that's definitely nice. You can easily get some stars on the Twilight mark, right? If you get like one or two there. But I guess
Okay.
it depends on the luck of the party and everything. Are you guys like soloing or duoing that, or is that all still in full party as well?
Which one are you talking
Like
about?
hard lucid, hard will, that kind of thing. Because those are
You're
like a
gonna hate
level
it. You're
below hard
gonna
to.
hate us,
Well,
man.
no, like I don't care personally, but like books
Yeah,
are super rare, and if all
yeah,
five of you are in a party, then you're just making it take 5 times as long to get a book, right?
yeah. No, we could easily do it. All of that.
Because
It's
you
not. It
probably
wouldn't
all have
even be
side
close.
characters.
But
You can jump into each other's parties. You can still hang out. But again, then it'll take
that's
longer
true. Yeah.
throughout the week. But then everyone can have their own party where they're like the one. I get all the Twilight marks. I get the books. Everyone
Mhm.
gets arcanes and all their side characters. Remember, after Savior, there's that 5% minimum damage rule for all party members. So you might also see this as a time, if I don't know where the people in your party are at, but if everyone is kind of looking at like maybe a side character or getting the boss mules funded, you might be able to skip up to, because you could definitely do like Lotus and Damien hard solo, right?
Oh yeah, no, I already soloed
Mm-hmm.
those.
And do you
Yeah.
take like your
No,
friends sometimes with you to get like Abzo
yes,
pieces?
to get
Yeah,
up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because the next step up is to just do the same thing for Hard Lucid, Hard Will, and then just get arcane pieces for your
Hmm.
friends, right? But you might not be
That's
at
a
the
good
point
point.
yet where
Yeah.
you feel like super comfortable soloing it. But if one person comes in their bishop, another one on Akana, and then two other people on just some random character, you'll be able to solo it as well. Might take a little
Well,
bit longer,
uh,
but yeah.
with everything that's being announced and upcoming,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be literally a reality for our party as soon as six job hits, for sure.
Yeah.
Like that's not even
Mm-hmm.
until then. Honestly, most of my friends, including me, prioritize time outside, you know, the
That's not
game, I
the game.
guess.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't take that much time or take our bossing mules that seriously for now. We all have plenty of bossing mules, but they're mostly just low mint for income.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's fine.
but with the 260 Hyperburn coming and then Jet being deleted, our plans, most of us, were to make sort of that character the second main,
Mm-hmm.
essentially,
Okay.
as a concept. Yeah, until 260, and then I guess at that point we'll be able to transition to a full account, sort of like what you have. Okay, this is my main. This one does the hard shit, and then the second main does the less hard shit, but to a certain extent, and
Yeah.
and then
Or
it
something's
kind
in a
of just
party or something solo.
waterfalls down exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a long process over time, and if you don't play as many hours a day, then that just take it. It just sucks because it's like, oh, somebody plays like 4 hours a day versus somebody who plays like 2 hours a day, which is still like a decent amount. Which just does
Hmm.
everything at twice the speed, like in half the time, right?
Yes,
And that after a few years, that's like a huge gap. You're like, oh, because
definitely.
you think
Yeah.
like a 9.1k Legion is like pretty close to 9.3, but it isn't. That's like that's a
Hmm.
whole lot of levels and a whole lot of characters, right?
On
So.
difficult levels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like longer levels.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
happened is that essentially I was the first one to start reboot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In my group of friends. I'm now the lowest level. So that can tell you something. You know what I mean? Like uh I started my friend group on reboot and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm the lowest level in the party.
How's that
So,
make you feel,
you know.
bro?
You know what? I don't really care, honestly,
And that's why you're the lowest
because
level, because you don't care about being the lowest
I've
level.
well I've IRL maxed outside of
Yeah.
Maple,
Well, but
so
if you cared that much, then you wouldn't be the lowest level right now, right?
exactly.
So sometimes
So
people ask me like, "Are you like the strongest insert class in the game?" I was like, "I hope not, because I'm not trying to be. So if I am, that means the game is dead, right? Because
exactly,
if I
yeah.
become like the strongest arc by default just for existing, that's not good, because that means no one is trying to push that character to its limits, and no one's, the community is so small that no one's doing that. So I hope to God not. I hope I'm not the strongest. That'd be bad.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
how do we get here? Dominator, yes. So what was the Yeah, so yeah, Fihila, I would look for a split there if you want to get more pendants,
Sure.
because it would be smart to just either kind of like skip the step. It's not bad, like someone in chat said, it's not bad to try to go for a 21 Dominator, because you can use it as is. Once you do hit the new pendant, you can replace it, and then this pendant becomes either transfer hammer fodder for the superior if it, for God forbid, doesn't go for 22.
Hmm.
And if it does go for 22, then you can still use it to go into Superior and then into Source. So it still has a future
Yes.
there, so that the value is not getting lost.
So Shining, I should try to push my Dami to 21, is what you're
I
saying.
would probably say that, yeah, because you have, what,
Okay.
4 backups? 5 backups?
Five, I think.
5, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's a safe one to go for. How are you on the Gollux coins? How's that situation?
I have like 700. I did put it in
Mm-hmm.
there somewhere. My use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
the backups here and the
But
coins. Yeah. Yeah, it's slow.
that
I know. And
mhm,
if you
it's very slow.
and that's the
Yeah.
same thing as well, right? If you don't do exactly every day, which I don't either for Gollux, it's such a, and then you miss like 2 or 3 days a week, and now it's suddenly half the pace that
The
you know,
compounds. Yeah.
yeah, and
That
the
for
base drop
sure,
rate.
man. Hmm.
What's your drop rate at when you like tap all your stuff? Do you go like full drop rate when you open a box for Gollux as well?
All the time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's at 334 with drop coupon, Holy Bless well no, God
Mm-hmm.
damn it.
Holy symbol.
Holy
Yeah.
Symbol,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and my FAMs, which is I have a one big item drop or whatever it's called.
Yeah, large item drop. I saw that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very nice.
Hmm.
334. Yeah, that's not bad. That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah. I
Hmm.
keep thinking how my DA is somewhere at 390 and my arc is over 400, but that's with a WAP.
Oh, I don't use the walk though for
Yeah.
drop rate.
I would use it like once a week. If I'm doing like the pitched bosses, I will use one WAP.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah. But my friend who has like 415 or whatever drop rate, he's the one who always pops
Mm-hmm.
the boxes, and he
Yep.
uses one. Yep.
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 I mean, if it was 415 without WAP, then we would have to start scratching our heads on how that number kind of came to be. Um.
Yeah.
Wait, 334. Okay, wait, hang on. I have characters too. They're in that stage, but I get like 309, I think. Oh, but that's with is that with a? But that's with that's without a large item drop rate. That's with the spider, so I should be 40% off. And I don't have inner. I'm wondering if there's some item drop rate that you could still get.
Probably on the equips. I have 0 double lines,
Okay, yeah. So there could
and
be.
I'm missing one ring technically for drop.
So you're using 160 from equips?
Yes, exactly 160. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing 2 lines. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I could get a free 40%.
Yeah, are there any like unique or legendary equips just in your inventory that kind of like lost its function that could fill that gap?
Um, well, you can see here I have
You got a silver
the
blossom?
black bean mark. I was trying to get it to replace my
Oh yeah.
meso just because it's much stronger equip.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I could just create a random counter ring and put it into drop, I guess. Um,
How many of those do you have?
Outside of
A
just
few.
creating another counter ring for drop, because I only have a counter ring for damage.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally need a 2-line elsewhere. Otherwise, I'm capped, right? So.
Yeah, because right now, like if you're struggling on time, so you don't know if you can always run, and especially if you're scaling up with like more parties and the runs lasting longer, if that's not necessarily an option, you want to make sure that when you do run, that you get the best chance possible to get the gains that you're looking for there, right? So you've got
Okay, for sure.
earring, face, and so right now you don't have an eye with drop, right?
I do. Oh shit, I didn't link it.
Oh, is it not
It's
here?
uh
Okay.
it's the aquatic. It's the second aquatic
Oh,
in
you
my
have two of them.
inventory.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has
Okay,
dropped.
okay.
Yes,
So one has a line
yes.
of drop, one has a line of mid. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you got two rings here and a three.
Like I said, I'm missing one complete ring
One
for
ring.
drop rate,
Yeah,
and then an additional line,
additional
essentially. Yeah.
line. So you basically just be looking for a double drop line on a
Exactly,
ring.
pretty
Yeah,
much on a
and
ring. There you go.
is that that silver blossom ring you have? Is that, do you use that one for anything?
It's for meso, and if it's
Oh,
useless right now because if I use it for meso, I'm overcapped. I have 100%
yeah.
without it.
Okay, so you could re-roll that one for drop then, right?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I
Because
was just pondering on a stronger ring, as in like maybe an
yeah,
event
but the
ring,
thing
but
with drop with so you kind of later on in the game you want stronger equips for meso because you're going to be using that for every single kill on a monster. But for drop rate, you can actually
mm,
go pretty weak because you're either killing already really weak bosses that you're nuking anyway, or you're going to be opening a box at the end that doesn't require damage. So you can actually go
you're
pretty
right.
weak gear for drop rate.
Yeah, that's true. Which is why I was going for the King Bean mark for meso. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then yeah, if something else happens in the future, then the aquatic letter eye accessory can maybe get a second or third life. I don't know which life it's on right now. Um, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's like two things. Like I like how clean your inventory is, but I feel so bad that you only have so few backups because like you want a full inventory, not with like clutter, but with like a lot of backups, so you could just splurge, right? You'd want to have like 20 rings in there and
Yeah.
six extra superior rings, and I guess you
Yeah.
got rid of all the
I have
belts.
been shit out of luck for
Yeah.
superior for like months now, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy, but
Yeah, it's not good. I got lucky on
that's
some
rough.
I got lucky on some mules on the drops, but now it's like, oh, I have two pieces, but so now I kind of have to do all the other runs to be able to get the ones to buy, And
Yeah,
it's like,
superior.
oh,
Yeah.
damn. I'd
Because
rather
it's
get the.
too good, right?
Yeah, it's too
Too
good. Yeah,
too
like you're
good
getting it up
value.
front. Now
Yeah.
you're only doing it for the coins, but if you don't have the drop sets, you're doing it for the coins and the drops, so you perceive more value in every run for some reason, and it's like,
Definitely.
yeah,
I
but,
agree with you. It's crazy. But
but
yeah, I've been shit out of luck and our whole party, like you said, has been really, really dry for
hmm.
um pitched anyways. And even hard Lomian I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
for months now as well.
Is
Solo
it
I haven't had
anyone
anything.
anyone gotten any pitched in the party?
My friend has got an eye patch. The hero that is
Mm-hmm.
cracked has everything. I think he's boomed his pendant, but he has eye patch and berserked.
Okay.
Wait, does he even have eye patch? I don't think so. We're so dry. We haven't seen a book, and we've run over a year for Hardwell.
Oh
We haven't
man,
seen one
yeah,
drop.
book.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
longest dry spell for Will was I think 108 weeks of running. I think three
That's 2
parties.
years.
Yeah, three
Oh
parties
my
a week
God.
too, and not seeing a book. And then I saw three books in 1 week. So it just
Oh, Jesus.
clusters
That's
like
so
a,
rough.
yeah. And that was a while ago, and I haven't seen a single book since then again. So and now I'm some weeks I run 5 or 6 runs a week. So it's like you think, and that's kind of the illusion of progress as well that you want to be careful for. If you have a main character or you have like two characters you play a lot and you have a bunch of side characters, it feels like you're making progress. Like I got a berserked on my hero and I, Star Force did and he got to 21. So now it feels like, oh, I have yeah, but it's like a berserk. It's like a small upgrade compared to like what it had like a 19 Twilight mark. But my main character
Hmm.
doesn't benefit from that at all. Like, and that guy's
At
been running
all.
longer, and that guy doesn't have a berserk. And it's like, but you get the feeling like you're moving forward, but are you really?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you want to,
Until you
yeah,
get that piece on your main 22, then realistically, like you said,
yeah,
you haven't moved forward at all, except
nope,
for sacred or whatever. So, yeah.
yeah. That's slowly like a slug, just like.
Hmm. trudging along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leaving a trail, leaving part of your life behind.
Yeah,
Slowly,
there you
slowly
go.
getting to the next sack
Um,
milestone. Yeah.
yeah. I'm in your current shoes with the sack milestone, except I'm just much lower level. But it's essentially the same feeling.
Yeah, it's like two people like on a Zamboni, just like chasing each other. You know, like going like 3 miles an hour, and you're like trying to increase your sack, and it's like you're
An
you're
elephant race. Yeah.
yeah, but you're like a set distance away from each other, and you're just never closing that gap because you're going the exact same speed. It's like,
There you go. There's nothing to do. If you
mm-hmm.
were at the level where you were able to obtain sack when it launched, then you're, like you said, you're a whole 2 yards of Zambonis ahead of whoever
Yeah.
else was later
We
to the party.
are we are though, because like the highest level people have their Surnium maxed, and in this event, the Wind Savior, they're going to have their hotel maxed. So then their total speed of like progressing in symbols is going to go down quite a bit.
Right.
It's just going to be Odium. But because of that, they're able to slam all of the selectors and everything into Odium, so they're still making progress there. And then once you
Hmm.
kind of catch up on Odium, that's when the new like 280, 285 areas and stuff come out. And then it's like, if they're already at that level, then then that's that body's taking off at a
Yeah.
whopping 5 miles an hour. Then, and then unless you have the
And then you're
levels,
stuck on the three. Yeah.
yeah, if you aren't training, you aren't pre-leveling all of that stuff, then yeah, it's gonna take you so long to get there, especially with the new EXP, right? You saw the changes for the
Hmm.
EXP for reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
mainly for
think we'll
past.
all get what, a level or something if
Uh,
they cut the XP in half, or is that not how it works?
well, yeah, I think if you keep training, you basically in the like in an hour you get. So they theorize something like you get like 57% of the EXP of what you would before the event or something. Before the changes. So you have to
Mm,
train like almost twice as long to make the same progress.
Jesus.
So if you're,
Yikes.
trying to get less final damage cut on the black mage, you're trying to get, um, access to new areas, to new symbols, because they are cutting the areas down.
Mhm.
So like at 270, you will already be in Odium when when a new age
Yeah,
happens.
you're right. You're right.
So that is nice, but that means if you get to 275, you'll get access to now
The
to
new
Odium
one.
and then to new area
Yeah.
as well.
Hmm.
It's like unlocking a new matrix slot, but then on steroids kind of thing. So again, to circle all the way back, like best ways to get damage at this point, still like gaining levels and possibly Ozring, like in terms of your gains for improving damage. Those will definitely be it. And as well, that'll also facilitate the transition to going into like a smaller party, splitting up in terms of doing bosses without making every run just last forever. Because that can also not be very fun if you just every single boss is like 20 minutes, and then what do you do with guild skills? How do you manage that shit, right? Because then
Hmm.
you run into other limitations.
Yeah. So one thing I swore to myself, because you always preach that it's a video game, you should have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've tried Oz twice.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I always preached to myself was I will never do this content, no
Okay.
matter what.
Okay, well, that's good.
Um,
It's good to know.
So when they announced the box
Yeah.
drop, I was like, "Wow, my conviction was finally worth something."
Vindicated. Yes. Yeah. Now you
Yes, exactly.
just
So I
have to
never
wait.
ran Oz, and I will get an Oz ring. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. You just have, yeah. I don't know what we're gonna call
Uh,
them afterwards. I guess we'll still call them Oz rings, and then people come to the games like, why do you call them Oz rings? Well, sit down on Grandpa's
Sit down,
lap and let me
child.
tell you,
Yeah.
tell you the ancient story about the Tower of Oz. Yeah.
Hmm.
I got, but yeah, no, yeah, same thing. Like I've never, I've always gone around just not doing the things that I don't like and just playing the game my way. And there's never been
Yeah.
any major changes to the game that have like severely impacted me negatively. The reboot EXP change, like the totems disappearing and not having used the totems the whole time when they were there, that was probably where I lost out on a lot. But level wise, I'm still fine.
Hmm.
But the EXP cutoff for reboot, um, I would have
That's rough
I
for
would have
new
benefited a
players.
lot if I had like my main character at 285, like because then you get access to all of the areas that are coming out in New Age, Kaling level. But again, like I'm probably not going to be Kaling until like a year and a half after she was first defeated on the server. So I've got so much time. I started doing Black Mage
Hmm.
like 2 years after he got killed or something. Like I'm in
Well,
no
I
hurry.
find that once you find that inner peace, that like how the MMO works and
Mm-hmm.
the longevity of, the marathon runner literally wins in MapleStory instead of the sprinter. It all becomes relative to, oh well, kind of like our mindset for Jenny, like, oh well, we'll have it in like a year. It's
Yeah, no, I
it's
get
all
it. There,
good.
there
Like
was a party in my guild who was like, "Oh, we're ready to run, but one guy's backpacking through Europe, and he's going to be back in 4 months, so we're going to start running then." And they were like, "I'm like, okay." So they just waited all the way, and then he came back on his jet, right? And then I think they did like one. They started like one clear, and then it's like, "Oh, by the way, jet's being removed," and it's like, do we continue now? Like, are they
yeah,
gonna transfer the progression in the jet weapon to like another, another weapon? Like, how is all that gonna work? So now they're kind of like,
that's
like,
tough.
fuck. Do we just wait until the end of next month until we know more, and then we continue? Yeah, it's
That sucks for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes waiting can also help you run into those things which aren't ideal.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's yeah. As long as you just kind of like keep going and just do your own thing and try to
Yeah.
roll with the punches, bob and weave.
Yeah, it's a video game, and I'm glad and blessed that sixth job and fucking rings and everything is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, I shall not do Oz. That's my motto.
Okay, okay, that's one up.
And
And training and grinding at all? Is there any kind of progress you see yourself making in
well,
that?
listen, if you recommend, I could foresee myself doing at least 30 minutes to an hour and conceding some time on the rest of the account for the main,
Mm-hmm.
grinding Incernium. I've got a great map for Hero with the great summon that they have.
Yep.
I one shot obviously because I'm a hero, and yeah, I could do that for sure. Prioritize some more EXP on the main. I could do that
Yeah,
definitely.
the amount of progress you can make just doing well, probably not Monster Park, but just the simple dailies, Monster Park Extreme, like that kind of stuff, is
Hmm.
okay. But yeah, if you can
Yes,
commit to like
4% per day approx.
yeah, if you can commit to like half an hour of training a day, um, you could probably make can you make 2% in half an hour?
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Like, if you go to 6% a day instead of 4% a day, instead of leveling every 25 days, you level every 16 days. That's quite a bit of a speed
That's
up there.
50% increase. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, or like a third. Yeah, depending on what your benchmark is. Yeah. That will make getting to 275 way more plannable, way more realistic without needing to, sit down and do like a 4 hour grind and then burn yourself out and then not train for 2 weeks. But keeping the average up is like over a large amount of time. Like you're training like 3.5 hours a week. What is three and a
Hmm.
half hours a week? That's not that crazy.
No, you're
Um,
right.
yeah,
Definitely. And it's time I would have spent, and I am currently spending on just, other characters, to be
yeah.
honest. Like, I've got like a Buck, a Dawn Warrior, now a Wind Archer that I try to uh, mainly the bosses on the Buck and the Dawn Warrior. But right now on the Wind Archer, I'm literally doing dailies on it,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Park on it. So it's a good time sink that it's not technically necessary. It's already like
Yeah,
238.
and that's the great thing
Uh,
about the savior is you could scale that down to just doing the weeklies on those characters, and then you still get in
like
terms of total
crazy.
symbols it goes down, but like the symbols per time goes way up. If you're not
Oh,
doing
you're
the
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
or only do the
And then
areas where you just have one daily and then just do like vanishing journey, kill 200 monsters, get 16 symbols or whatever it is, like or 18. I
yeah,
don't remember what the
it's
amount is.
so free now with
Yeah.
the amount of arcanes you get. Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
right.
Is
And
that a
then slowly but surely, get the carries for the APSO, like I've been doing with my group of
mm-hmm.
friends.
Yeah, you could just kind of rotate whatever
Mhm.
character needs something.
Yep. It's already clearing like 4 doors easily. Probably sooner, like the sooner I get my APSO, the sooner I can literally already start doing Lomian on that mule. Which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy how like everything compounds, like you said, like 8K Legion, the link skills. Now I have like a 16 to 17K mule. I can literally do Lomian and everything under in like 30 minutes. That's so
Yeah, like
crazy.
Lotus and Damien together is probably less, like around 10 minutes or less, right?
Yeah. Well, on the Buccaneer, it's literally, yeah,
Yeah,
that class is on crack, but yeah, it's
yeah, yeah. Did you get
everything underneath Lomian is like 23 minutes or whatever. It's crazy.
nice, nice?
It goes
Did
really
you get
fast.
like guild skills for them as well?
Nope, nothing. They're
Okay.
dry. They're all sitting around 20K. The Dawn Warrior, the Buck. 21k I think each. They all have event rings. Everything's green and everything's 17 star. That's it.
Okay,
No
oh,
guild
that helps
skills,
a lot,
no
yeah.
nothing.
Because I would
Yeah.
have like a bunch of stuff not 17 and some stuff like left epic or unique even. But then the guild
Mm-hmm.
skills, they bring a whole lot of damage to the table. And then that's money you don't need to invest. And then that money can, go back to your main or go back to activating other bossing wheels a little bit faster. But I don't know what the setup is with your guild or with your alliance. If that's something like, do you guys have room in the alliance for an extra guild? You could, I don't know, you could maybe give
I
the
haven't even checked, to be
yeah.
honest with you.
I think hydrates. I feel like when they smega, don't you have like a baby guild for like side characters?
Probably.
Or
I
is
have
that
to look
hydrate?
into it, but you know what? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I would just look into it because if there is a guild available and all you have to do is like 4 flag races a week, but you get like 30% critical damage for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very easy to just get 1 max skill. That's super easy. 2 max skills is pretty doable as well if everyone just does a little bit of stuff. It's getting past 2 skills and getting from 2 to 3 skills. That's already when you want to start, really making rules and, having everyone's nose
Yeah.
pointed in the same direction, that kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
getting up to 2 max skills is pretty doable. You add 30% damage and 30% critical damage to your boss mules now. Yeah, it's going to speed up
Yeah, that
tremendously.
would
And you
help
could
a
maybe
lot.
include slime and then just in the same rotation, right? In the same amount of time, you just add an extra boss in there.
Yeah,
Slime
for
crystal's
sure.
nice. You hit a slime ring. Maybe there's an option for the character to go somewhere. Because that's the other thing. If you're doing a bunch of bosses on a bunch of characters, and you kind of like all of them, but you don't really know if you want to push either of them, if one gets very lucky with a bunch of drops, then, that's the game kind of like showing you, like, well, this character is just seeded, so go for it. That's how my hero got where he is. Like, I got all the
Yeah.
arcane drops, everything, bunch of slime ring drops. Like, didn't have to work for any of that shit. It has the berserk now, and it's like, well, this character just gets everything handed to it. So it's just like the
Yeah.
universe telling me like this character wants to, be played more. So then,
Yeah.
and then it's more
But
fun to
then
play the
again,
character as well because it's stronger. So it's
for
yeah,
sure, for
yeah.
sure. But then again, like limited time, availability, and everything. It's
Yeah. That's of course a
like
factor.
what I'm telling you on a good day. Like now, it's an off day, so
Mm-hmm.
on off days I can do fucking 4 or 5 hours, whatever. But on an actual regular day where I work, it's like an hour a day. I can concede to this game. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I say an hour, sometimes it's a little bit
Yeah,
less.
like 30,
So
45 minutes maybe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's the reality
You just slam some
of my
dailies and
progress.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. I log in, do dailies.
Yeah, I think that's more people
Uh,
than you might think. I think most people
mhm.
don't have like at least 3 hours a day that they could just spend on this. Most people probably
Yeah,
only spend like an hour and a half a day max, and only during like the season. And then maybe on a weekend, every now and then they have a day where they just like go degen and do like 4 or 5 hours. But I think that's
exactly.
that's what most of the people are. And then they sometimes just don't touch the game for like 2 to 3 months because work, school, they have a
Hmm.
kid, so they just forget computers exist for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, all that stuff does come up. I did want to mention for your hyperstats, did you like
Yes.
use a calculator or something? Because I'm interested why the boss damage is at 14 and the critical damage is at 10.
I used the suck hards, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that data was that data is a little bit outdated now. I
Mm-hmm.
have when I used that calculator, I was not at AK Legion. I recently got it, so that
Mm-hmm.
might have changed. Yeah, I should redo it for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Because I
I'm
think
always
because
using the
the
suck hard whatever calculator, like you
yeah,
say now at this point. So
because this is with the bossing fam
the
and
boss thing fam, I have an IED fam as well, but we mostly run on the healing fams with the hard bosses.
you use like one bossing, two healing.
One boss thing, two healing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And this event buff here in this picture, is that with the consolidated effect or just the current effect?
What? Wait, can you repeat that?
Well, there was like we had like the combination effect of the anniversary event and this event for a little bit where it like overlapped. Is it the
Oh, no, no,
double?
no. This picture is the current one
The
that's
current.
right. That was taken yesterday, so it's no
Okay, yeah,
overlap. Yeah,
no more overlap.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at damage, right? Damage like one blob, your base damage is 100%. So you're adding 60, 325. That's like almost 400. So your total percent damage is like 500.
Okay.
So if you're adding 2 levels of boss damage, that's like 8% damage out of the current, like out of 500 is like 163rd or something. So that's like 1.6% final damage or something, right? That's like rough estimate of like how much of your damage that is.
Okay.
If you're looking at critical damage, your base critical damage is anywhere from 20 to 50% basically final damage on a crit, even if you have 0% there. So I'll just take the average there and say like 35% final damage on crits is like your base from your critical damage. So you add that number to this visible number, so you have 128. So you have 128% final damage on crits, so that's additive. So if you would to increase your critical damage by 2% for those same points, 2 out of 128 is 1 out of 64. So that's well, it's also like 1%, 1.6% final damage. So I guess they're kind of equal, but the 2 points on critical damage are cheaper than the points on boss damage because of the level. So.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's closer. Look, I'm doing the math in my head now as well, right? To kind of like see. So I guess it's closer than I thought. But there might be something there. But you're left with like 1 point, yeah. So you're not really moving around a lot. But I wouldn't be surprised if like critical damage on 13 and boss damage on, could do a 13 to 11. I wouldn't be surprised if moving those points around a little bit would technically be like a little bit more. But it's now that I think about it, it's probably closer than. I think, yeah, if you were to be able to take 1 point out of boss damage and put 2 into critical damage, that would definitely be an increase, but you probably need a few more floating points. Yeah, I don't know exactly how expensive everything is, but maybe in like 1 or 2 levels, it'd be looking something like 7, 12, 11, 12, 12, something like that. Or 13 at the end, something like that. But of course, like the more boss damage you get from your FAMs, if you hit another one there, then it's definitely going to move over, right? Because then the relative value of the hyperstat is going to shift in the favor of the critical damage. What level is the hero? Oh, it's right here, 270. Yeah, it's still mind-blowing to me that your damage range takes up 4 spots in your character stats, but your level, and your fame even, and your guild are in here, but your level is just not on the character stats. I still don't understand why that's a thing. Like, we have speed and jump here, but your level? Nah, who needs to know that?
Who needs to know that?
So unimportant.
Yeah.
Detailed stats, by the way. Yeah.
I will recalculate everything into subcards for sure.
Yeah.
I'll look into
yeah, but it's closer than I think now. So even if you did move it around, it wouldn't be like, oh my god, my final damage just went up by 10%. It's probably not as because it is 4% per level versus 1% per level. I think it would be cool if critical damage it's something like 1.25 or 1.5% past level 10. To give it a little bit more of an oomph, but I guess, yeah, they don't want it to scale too hard.
Depends on the class, too,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some classes just have way more critical damage.
Like archers or whatever.
Archers with vicious shot. Yeah, Cadena with the, not visual critical damage, but effective critical damage because of the debuffs on bosses. I think they get 3% per debuff on the boss. So, if there's like 15 on there, it adds up quite a bit. That's why they actually use Venom Burst, not for the damage of the Venom Burst, but for the critical damage of the debuff on the boss of the Venom Burst.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah. And there's something with Hayato's with critical damage. I still have to look into exactly how it works, but they're supposed to get final damage from defense, but the final damage, I think, shows up as damage percentage in the stat window, but it's actually calculated as critical damage.
Such an irrelevant stat to defense. Such a relic.
Well, not for them, but like
percent-based.
Yeah, they're removing some stats in New Age as well. Like, I think speed and jump and stuff are out of there just to clean it up a little bit because it is quite a lot of stuff in there now. I wish that they just had like a stat equivalence number in there, like 1% damage for you equals this much final damage equals this much percentage stat equals this much IED equals this much crit damage.
You could optimize within the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just change something, you see how it affects it. I mean, you'd still probably need a calculator, but you'd be able to immediately say like, oh, I need to calculate like a flame score. Well, again, it doesn't fix all the problems because if you look at the flame score, you can look the reason why the flame score calculator, why we have that, is not because you want to know right now what is better for you, but you want to know what eventually will be better for you. But if you're in end game and you know your stats and you know that not much is going to be changing because everything is like almost maxed out, then you can just look at your stat window and see like, oh, a flame for me is like, oh, weapon attack is like 2.83, you know. All stat is like 11.642. Like, you could just put the exact numbers in there and you know exactly which flame is better than which one. Again, early game, you don't want to be using that because then you might, you know, your flame might be good for one day and then tomorrow the other one would have been better. But yeah, I think that would give a lot of utility to players, and that has to be, I mean, that those numbers must already be in the game somewhere because they're used for the calculation of the damage output. So they must be able to just pull those out and just show them. You'd think, but
You'd think.
yeah.
Or Nexon just, you know, deliberately hides those stats, whatever. Make life more difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, right? Like, you could put a lot of work into the game in terms of leveling characters and having Legion, having links, but unless you specify exactly where you put your hyperstat points and where you put your, you know, which members you put into Legion and where you put the pieces, you're just not going to be capitalizing on the damage that you already put all the work in for, but you just haven't jumped through the final hoop that is now put them all in the, now fit.
Input.
That'll do the puzzle, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you haven't used this calculator
I started
properly.
taking that puzzle most seriously when I hit 265. Like, okay, now I think it's time to put the numbers in.
Yeah, and you want to make like specific like hyperstat setup for mobbing for bossing, Legion setup for mobbing for bossing, and split that up, and then be like, oh my god, why did my bossing take so long? Oops, I was still in mobbing. Yeah, like then that stuff happens, of course. And people are like, why isn't everything passive all the time? Like, yeah, I kind of get that. But if everything was passive all the time, they probably have to nerf it, right? Because then they would get too much utility. So I'm still waiting on those invulnerability presets, though. Like, mine is... Like, this invulnerability is, like, really nice. But then when you're mobbing, you know...
It's useless. Yeah.
When you're mobbing, you probably can just put the Phantom Link in there without losing much damage. And then the boss damage also does nothing. So you essentially just have a... Like, imagine if you could make another one with drop and meso on like second and third line, then be like, you know,
that would be great.
Yeah, that would add up over time. I'm just mainly for selfish reasons because I've been on like 10 mil honor for so long, so my arc has been just burning every single honor medal ever for the last 3 years, and it just doesn't feel as good, you know. I'm thinking, yeah. So I mean, like. Options out there for you, things you can consider. But I think, yeah, if you do have the time and the day to play, like just doing like half an hour a day is like a very overseeable amount. All of the coupons are like around half an hour. You can just stay in one map. You don't have to CC around, right? To find someone with OK burn, just put half an hour in. Half an hour is never going to like completely destroy the burn in a map either. Just 2 ranks. So, and any kind of dailies like monster kills and stuff. If you do consistently half an hour a day, you can always reach like monthly and seasonal goals for that as well.
Oh, yeah, easily. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I reached that just doing dailies. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was calculating it. It was like, oh, I'm going to reach this like 2/3 of the way through doing dailies. Like, yeah, if I'm not even scaling up. So, yeah. And then I did a little bit of training because I had the triple EXP coupons that were about to expire. I shouldn't let these expire. That's a little bit too much. Like... The prepared spirit pendant and triple EXP goes, maybe I should train a little bit, you know. So those are all the things. Yeah, I guess that as well. Like, if there's just so much opportunity value for like, maybe I should train like an hour here or like 2 hours here. But then, you know, the consistency is key there more so than like the crazy grinds. You don't have to be. We don't all have to be Nero. Like, he's taking a step back. He's gonna start sleeping in his bed again instead of on the couch. You know, so.
Yeah, no, I hated the totem meta. I never participated in it, just like you. But
yeah, once I did, you did start seeing those consistent gains, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'd started doing that from the beginning where I could have been. But then when drones were gone, it really felt harder for me to find a moment to be like, because you know everyone likes to have a higher level and likes to have a character progress, but actually putting the time into grind, that's not for everyone, and not. And that also could just be like a mood thing, right? That can be where's your head at kind of thing. For me, usually the grinding is okay, but it's starting it. Like, I just dread doing it. But then once I'm in it, it's fine.
That's exactly what I preach is, and what you preach too. It's just a fucking video game. I'm not supposed to do homework here. Like if it feels like homework, then I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like I already have IRL too many homeworks. So
Yeah, for sure. There's
so
enough to do already.
mm-hmm. So I'm very blessed to have all the arcanes at 21 and mostly good 3 lines. But essentially, what I was trying to get from you is just navigate sort of a path because it's so fucking hard at this point to precisely pinpoint. Okay, what now? You know, instead of just waiting, collecting meso and waiting for events, right?
Yeah, so I think a 22 pendant Dominator is probably something you can aim for now. For Gollux, you just, you know, it's kind of up to you if you want to like buy Superior Gollux backups, but I'd probably just like see if you can just slam a 21.
I have a reinforced 21 in my inventory. Yeah.
Oh, you already have that? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, you could almost, if you're not getting E-ring backups and you have reinforced, you could try to also just 22 reinforced and then just transfer it into 21 superior.
Okay. Yeah.
That's an option.
I have like fucking 7 reinforced and 0 superior. Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, there's a chance, of course, that it doesn't happen, and then you might feel bad that you like. Do you feel? Would you feel worse not getting your guaranteed 20-star superior, and wasting a bunch of money than you would having tried to go for 22 but it just didn't happen? That's kind of like the thing you have to, look at. Like, because now you're sitting at a guaranteed 20-star, right?
Yes, but as it stands, getting the guaranteed quote unquote 21s on my gear has done much more for me and my personal like account growth, I think, even though most people say it's not finished, whatever, than waiting for either 22 or 17 or nothing, right? I think, yeah. I could live with 21s easily. And then one by one.
But could you live with a 20, I guess? It's for the superior ring is the question, right? Would you okay with it being a 20 until, maybe like a few months from now you have like 1 or 2 drops and then you, maybe next event you try to tap it to 21?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind.
Yeah.
As long as I get guaranteed stars, I think it's worth it.
Well, then why haven't you transferred it yet? If you have a 21?
That's... well, I guess I needed.
Oh, that's a follow-up question then.
Else,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Same as the Twilight Mark, I guess, or would you do something different?
Twilight Mark. So usually, like if I have 17 and I have at least 1 backup, I just try to go for 19. And then if I have 19, I try to aim for like at least 2, but preferably 3 or 4 backups, and then just try to go for 21. You could go for 22.
3 currently.
You have 3 backups or 3 in total?
Sorry, 2 backups.
2 backups, yeah. Then at least on the event, I would try to go for 19. What you could do is, if the potential is in this situation, the flame is quite nice, but if the potential in this situation, you could also say, like, I'm just going to make a 19, and if I get another one, I'll just try to tap it to 22, and if it doesn't go, it's whatever, and if it does go, then you can tap your existing one, or just upgrade on the other one, and then just say, like, I'll let whatever value is on the existing one go away. Maybe it can become, like a drop rate or a meso piece.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it is a 19-star piece, that can also be decently strong. Yeah, preferably meso there, right? For the damage.
That stage where doing one literally on the side is not a stupid strategy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same strategy when you're going for like high, going for like stronger CRA, and this might be something you have on a mule. Like, let's say you have like 17-star CRA on like a side character, or like 18 or maybe even 19, and you want to go for 21 or 22. Sometimes it makes more sense to just open like 80 items and fuse them just to get a nice flame, because the better flame could be worth more than a 19-star, even like 30% stat okay flame CRA. Like if you hit like a really nice flame, it could actually be worth more than all of that combined, and then you just ditch your existing one and make a new one, which feels very unorthodox. And you'll never do that on your first character. But you won't do it on your first character not because of the value, but because you won't have as many backups available to realistically give you a chance of hitting a flame like that. But if I were to do it on a character, like one of my 250s that has 21-star CRA, but I have like 3,000 pieces because, I have hoarding issues, then I could mathematically actually hit like maybe like a 140 flame or something, which could be worth like half a trillion, and then mathematically it'd be better to just like ditch it existing 21 with like 2.5 line, you know, like a fake 3 line,
Yeah.
and then just Star Force that one instead. So in a kind of a similar way, and it definitely comes into play when you're also trying to look at items that might get replaced by pitched at some point, right? It's like, you know,
Yes.
what is going to be, what pitched would you be aiming for? Would you just, you know, at this point, would you equip a 17? Probably not. Would you equip a 19? You know, if you have
Well, I
7,
mean,
yeah.
essentially, if the pitch replaces the Twilight Mark, then
hmm
of course I
But
would
the question
switch it
is,
immediately. But
yeah, is it better
would you
now, or
settle
would you
on?
settle
Oh,
on it? Yeah,
okay,
would you
okay.
settle on it? Yeah, that's
Oh,
like the
okay.
question, right? So
Oh,
if you
good
have a,
question. No, I'd probably only settle on 21 pitched. Yeah.
yeah, so you want the 21 pitch to be an upgrade. So if you go for 22
Uh-huh.
on a Twilight Mark, you make it harder for the pitch to actually be an upgrade, even if it does go to 21. So then you'd probably also
Mm.
be okay with just settling on 21 on a Twilight Mark.
Oh, that's a good point.
Which means I
Yeah,
would say
because that
one backup, aim for 19, and then at 19, aim for like 3 or 4 backups, and then just try to get one at 21, and then just sit on that, and then just say, like, the only upgrade from now is pitched, otherwise I'm not touching this. Maybe the potential a little bit, but otherwise I'm just not touching it anymore.
And am I at the point where balancing funds between Star Force and cubes now starts becoming more relevant? As in, I remember I have the exact same emblem, the exact same secondary as last time we
Mm-hmm.
spoke. I remember you clearly saying this is not like
Yep.
worthy of your meso right now because I was only 17, right?
Yeah, so if you
Um,
Shining and you get, like, let's say you get the Dominator to 21, the
yeah.
ring, the earrings at 20 if you don't get another backup, and the Twilight Mark, hopefully to 19, maybe to 21, depending on backups. And that's the situation you're in. I mean, the next step would probably be just to work on your potentials, mainly on the accessories and on the ones that you are going to be not transferring on, and then trying to get for like actual 3 lines. That or the WSE, which is. Oh, you're planning to maybe tap your weapon as well, see if you can hit a 19 there.
You would think that's worth it for the weapon?
Comparative to all the other upgrades, like if you're looking at 21 to 22 and you have a weapon, I would at least try to get it to 19. Yeah, if it doesn't go, then you just, you know, you get it back to where it is. But
Yeah, to 17 and then keep it.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like, what is it? Something like 30 stat, 30 weapon attack, like just sitting there to be picked up, right?
It would make me stronger relative to the low amount of effort it gets to take to get to
Yeah, yeah.
19, is it? Okay.
Yeah, you don't want
Okay.
to start making backup weapons, of course, but if you have a backup
Mhm.
weapon, you can I would at least try to 19. Yeah, 17 to 19 is relatively risk-free compared to like 21ing and 22ing for sure.
Yeah.
And if it booms first try,
Gotcha.
then, you know, at least you tried, and then you have another inventory space available.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Outside of
I was
that,
gonna say, oh yeah, WSC
arcane,
potential. Yeah.
yeah, WSC, yeah,
Uh
yeah.
huh.
Um,
Yeah, so for the secondary, you're probably also in a situation where you just probably want to be just rolling one on the side and see if you
oh,
can,
really? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and just see if you could, because it's really, the thing is, if you are going to, like, you can throw it into a calculator, right? Exclamation mark,
It's
potential,
really expensive to aim for
or
the 3
cubing is the
lines,
one
right?
wrong. Exactly, and especially on a secondary, there's so many shitty outlines you don't want to hit.
Mhm.
So we're secondary. I'm blind. Here it is. And then you'd want to avoid running, having to run bright cubes instead of glowing cubes, because it's just so much more expensive to get, like, quote unquote just 3 line, or let's say 2 line attack, 1 line boss, or maybe even 2 line boss, 1 line attack, something like that, right?
Mhm.
Which will all be nicer outs than just 2 line attack that you have. And the fact that you can have 2 is you could just alternate, and then maybe you get into a situation where, oh, you have one with, you know, 2 line boss, 1 line IED or something like that, which mathematically might be better than this, but then you use the other one for mobbing until you're like, okay, well, now I have so much IED and so much boss, like, now it doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe your emblem rolls like 2 line attack, 1 line IED, which is also better than now. And then you're like, well, now I have way too much IED. Now I rerolled a secondary again.
Mm.
And then you can start alternating again. But the one where you need to just have a lot of money and it's like one big project and it's not, you know, you have to settle on something good is the emblem, because you just can't get another emblem, right? You're not one of those double emblem people, I don't think.
No.
So it's only once you have Saren emblem that you can start considering that. But for the secondary, you do have that ability. So I would And at this point, you know, just making a secondary legendary, it's like less than $1 bill invested. It's almost nothing in terms of, you know, where's all your money going and how much income do you have on your character. So I'd say
And what you're saying is I would reroll it with the free like bossing cubes, the ones that go up to legendary, and then just try like is that
yeah,
what you're
that's usually what I do,
buying?
yeah, until it goes up to legendary. You just throw all your extra solids on there, or whenever you're just feeling frisky and you want to cube something, you just buy some glowing cubes and you just go to town.
Literally, like you just buy, because I don't know the fucking names of the ones that are glowing ones, the reds of the
Yeah, the old
past.
red cubes, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, bright is the old
And
black cubes.
sometimes out of the blue, you just pull out 5 bill and say, "Fuck it, I'm trying today," and
well, the way that
yeah.
it is for me is you know, I'm very good at waiting for events, but there's a long time in between events, and sometimes I just want to gamba. You know, I just want to. I have sitting on all that money. I just sometimes, you know, it just itches and I want to scratch. So I'll just buy like a few billing cubes and just send it, and see if something hits. And sometimes, you know, something cool comes out of that, and most of the time it's just utter disappointment. But at least then you keep the gambling monster, you know, at bay for a little bit longer, and that's better than just, you know, tapping to fail on an event when maybe you should be holding a little bit, or just spending every single dollar that comes in whenever you make it, and then have nothing. Because the worst thing is like, oh, there's a, you know, they're shining in 3 days, and someone's like, oh my god, I just spent 80 bill on cubing yesterday. It's like, bro, just look at the calendar. You know, like it's fine to want to gamble a little bit, but like do it informed, you know, with all the information at hand.
I'm kind of the contrary of the example guy you named. I just hoard and then don't know what to do.
And I forget the event.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I've skipped
Should I
some
cube? It's
5 minute
like, bro,
things,
there was a cube sale yesterday. What are you doing?
Exactly. So I'm the contrary. I'm very patient. I hoard all my money and then I just go ham on events, basically.
Yeah, but it's good to have that plan. But yeah, you are, if the pieces just aren't there yet that you can try to aim for that 21 or 22, then that just means, you know, it's the one thing that you're gonna do off event that, in terms of value, that you know you're not gonna lose anything, is the flaming, right? Because there's just never flaming events. So if you do need to just work on some better flames and some arcanes or something like that, then that's something you can always do. Cubing is pretty safe because there's generally just like 2 cube sales, one around the anniversary event, one around like the Black Friday. It's like end of November. That's like generally when cube sales are. So if you're decently far away from that, you can also buy just cubes and just kind of like go ham. But it's just like the sale, like for the emblem, for example, I believe it's because looking at here, like 3 lines attack or boss on a secondary, it's only like 4 to 6 bill, like up to 8 bill max. That would be a nice upgrade for you on your character.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For the amount spent. Okay.
For sure. If you're looking more
What
like
about the
specifically like 2-line, is it like 2-line attack and 1-line boss, something like that, then it already gets like a bit more expensive. And by that I mean way more.
The 2-line attack, 1-line boss was.
Yeah, well, that's a 35, right? So if you hit a 30, it's going to be significantly less. But even then, this is like 6 times the amount, 5 or 6 times the amount. So
yeah.
In terms of those more reachable gains, like on my hero, I had the very same thing that you basically had, and I was just rolling random cubes and buying some cubes here and there. And I recently rolled like 65 boss, 9 attack, which was
that's
very
good
nice
for bossing.
Yeah, it's just great, and you don't lose really any damage when you're mobbing. I mean, I don't mob on that character, so definitely not me. But you're going to be overpowered by so much in killing the monsters, and even more when a wake comes, right? Because the monsters are going to have way less HP when a wake comes out, which means you don't have to struggle as much to hit all those metrics, and you're going to get your sacred power faster and the symbols earlier and all of that, right? So that's going to make killing at those higher level monsters and training in those areas less bad. Let's hope that they also add familiar cards. But like with your emblem, that is one project, because, you know, Saren emblem, way out there, and you're basically looking for like maybe like IED and attack, something like that, right? Like that would be like the minimum upgrade, but that's already like 17, right? It's already 17 to 20 bill. You're looking for a 3-line attack, and it's like, no, that's 33, sorry. That's a scary number. Yeah, so you're like, what I usually think is like close to 40 off event, and like closer to 30 on event. So then a cubing sale basically saves you 10 bill. But if you think about it, you have your bossing mules lined up, and you're making like 15 bill a week, it's like, it's just 3 weeks worth of money to make this upgrade. That's it. You know?
Right.
And if I wait like 2 months for a cube sale, so I can save less than a week's worth of income, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, you're just, you know, you're just waiting for Godot, right? You just, like, yeah. It's
That's good
unnecessary.
concepts, yeah,
Yeah.
to keep in mind, for sure.
So that's
Whereas I'm
like the
the
only
complete
reason.
opposite,
Yeah, I don't want you to become like hyper obsessed with your weekly income, but knowing roughly where it's at also helps you kind of contextualize, like, should I be waiting, or is this just totally fine to just tap now and then I'll just, you know, and
I
can start
I
capitalizing.
average 5 bill a week with all my characters.
Mhm. Yeah, so for you it would
For
be like
sure.
8 weeks worth, right?
Yeah.
When the next sale is probably going to be around like the end of November. How many weeks away is that? And then you're going to save 2 weeks worth of meso by waiting. What is it? 4 months? 5 months? Yeah, 5 months essentially. So you could be like, okay, maybe it's worth to just go for that. But you got Shining first, right? So by the time you make like 40, 45, maybe like closer to 50 bill, you know, you want a little bit of buffer. If then the Shining is like, a cube sale is most likely to happen in like a month or so, then it becomes worth it, because then waiting 1 month gives you 2 weeks of double your meso. But if by that time you're making 10 bill a week, you know, then it's 1 week extra. So that helps you put things into perspective a little bit more.
For sure. So as of now, as it stands, I kind of don't want to waste your time. We're already stretching here, but
A little bit, yeah.
essentially try to 19 or 21 some of the stuff I have. However, the ones I don't have backups for, kind of leave as is, essentially. So, for example, my superior Gollix ring is 21, right? I only have 700 coins. I don't have backups. Leave as is for now.
Yeah, there's just no point in risking that, because what happens if it's always like, would you be okay with the worst possible outcome that could happen?
Yeah.
Right? If you're not okay with that, then just don't risk it. And
yeah,
exactly. You need that damage. You need that set that's just not replaceable. So you just look for something else to do.
Okay.
Yeah, you see those people running around like with a fucking Estella earring because they blew up their superior 21 to 22 and until they ran out of backups. Like,
yeah.
Would you rather
Makes
be
no
like
sense.
1 star lower and have your money, or run the risk of not having the item anymore and losing your strongest step bonus in the game? Like, for me, it's such a no-brainer. But
A no-brainer. Yeah.
it's like with every gamble, right? Like, you have to be willing to lose what you're willing to risk. If you're not willing to lose it, then don't risk it. And that's where the cutoff is.
So for the Shining, essentially, there's Dami Pendant.
Yep.
20 superior earrings.
Yep.
19 Twilight, possibly 19 weapon.
Yeah, possibly 21 Twilight if you get more backups, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. That's the priority.
Yeah,
Then,
and the ring, right? The Silver Blossom, try to get drop rate there.
so
they'll
so
be
that's
after
totally unrelated to Shining. Just in
Yeah.
the meantime, try to roll for a 2-line drop. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it rolls drop and some strength, then maybe looks at something else that has drop and strength, but maybe less strength, and then try to roll that one for double drop, you know? Like, I've never chased actively myself. I've never chased double lines on drop or meso. It just always happened because of how many times you roll accessories. Because you just, you know, between trying to 3-line, trying to get some stat, trying to get your drop meso set completed, trying to get full drop set, like, you're just using so many cubes on accessory. Eventually, like, double lines just kind of, like, you know, they kind of pop up.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for the roadmap, sort of. And
Yeah.
then after all that's done, if, fingers crossed, you know, I'm getting lucky and I still have a nice pile of money,
Probably
work on another
maybe.
secondary.
Yeah, other
or
secondary.
Just send it on the,
Yeah.
on the emblem.
Yeah, probably other secondary first, because I think you have your cheaper outs there, and then like save up emblem, because it's already like double prime with a little bit of stat as well. So you're basically looking for 2-line attack with IED would be an upgrade, but then you have to see like, okay, that allows you to definitely switch out like a bossing, like a ID fam for like a bossing fam without losing any final damage, right? So then if you make another one there, that could be nice. But eventually, yeah, you want to get, you know, 2-line attack, 1-line percentage damage, or, you know, the 3-line attack is what you want eventually.
On the emblem.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, it's just so
Also,
fucking strong. Yeah.
it's obvious. I shouldn't even have to state it, but for my weapon, I think I'm just gonna wait for the lib to change the cube potential.
Yeah, again,
Honestly,
like double prime, and
fine.
the third line does something. Yeah, I would keep that. Or you go for a similar vibe as on the secondary, where you like, you know, 2 lines, but you'll probably end up with like either 2-line boss, 1-line attack, or 1 big line boss, 2 small lines attack, and it'll be so close to this that I don't think it's worth spending the money to re-roll it. But I would try to get it up to 19, as if you have a backup, that's some free damage. But you know, like the flame is amazing, and the potential is good enough. Maybe the soul to attack if you want to, because you are going to be holding on to it for a while, right?
Yes. Well, at least, foreseeable future.
I
If
mean, at 10
everything goes
months at
well,
least,
it's
right?
my 10
Yeah.
months.
Yeah,
10
exactly.
months.
So I mean, 3% attack there would kind of like, you know, round out the capabilities of the weapon a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Yeah, other than
And
that,
outside of that, 21 arcanes for now can sit there for all I care. Those
yeah,
are
for Black
fucking
Mage,
overpowered items.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the flame,
Like
right? Slowly working on the flames a little bit here and there, especially like event
Okay.
flames, like extra eternals and extra like black flames and stuff. Like maybe slowly, one by one, you can bring them up a little bit.
Sure.
But they're not bad, you know. I'm not saying like they're bad, but
They're like 120, I think, whatever.
like
Or
you want to look at
130-ish.
like relative to the other items, you know, like where can
Yeah.
you push the most, and if you look at the progression grid, you can kind of see like the numbers there on what makes sense. Yeah, maybe some of the CRA pieces will come into play again. Maybe like the pants or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just throw random flames at it. The black ones.
Yeah, because you're at that point where you're so strong that if one, maybe not even the black ones, but just like the red ones and the eternal
Rainbow?
ones as well. Because if if one item's flame goes to absolutely 0, you don't notice your damage changing at all, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So
Still hitting the freaking billions per line. Or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. You're just overkilling everything, or even a boss. Like what's going to be like 3 seconds slower on like a 15-minute boss fight? Like it doesn't register. So you're okay just ruining the flame on an item because that item has the best chance of increasing the flame score. And then when it finally does, you just ruin the next item's flame because. Yeah, you're not gonna do like 10 flames and then you're probably getting an upgrade. You're at the point where you're like 100 to 200 flames is probably where you can finally see an upgrade. So
exactly,
those are just longer term projects. But because you have so much more of a safety net between the rest of your account, you also won't feel that downgrade. So it's totally fine to just take that risk.
And until then, more backups, and then and only then push to 22. That's the general guideline.
Yeah, it's possible that you have other
and
characters.
One by one too, right? Like you said, it feels much less worse if everything's at 21 and you boom to 17 than if you have a bunch of 17s and a couple 22s, right?
Exactly, same concept like with the flame, right? Like if everything has a good flame, then once flame going to 0 doesn't matter. But if everything has like a, like 20 flame score and you're trying to push for 125 on an arcane, and you're not standing on like an 80, but the arcane right next to it has a 25, what are you doing, right? Keep that 85. Do the other one that's a 25, bring it up to like 90, and then if you don't have any arcanes anymore, then go back to the 85 and bring that one up. Like, why would you, take the risk at the 85 to 120 mark when you can take that same level of risk at a 25 to 120 mark? Like, the amount of outs and the expected value of your meso that you're spending is just so much higher there. So, always take the low risk upgrades before you take the high risk upgrades.
Excellent. Well, my friend, thank you so much for the advice.
You're welcome.
Just like last time, I will apply these concepts.
Okay. No, it's good.
You can see, the account has been progressing very nicely ever since I took your advice. And now it's just literally time and effort. That's it.
Yeah, and in the right things, looking for the right upgrades. Yeah, and if you can brute force, then, just kill it with patience and then brute force the things that you can do.
Absolutely.
All right.
God bless, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Too.
Have a nice day.
Best of luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Cool. That was a bit of an update. So last time, about a year ago, July last year, is level 250 here. As you can see, like stat-wise, it seems like it didn't increase that much, but it's all that higher level Star Force. So if there was the weapon attack here, you probably would see that his weapon attack here, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 2,500 or something. And now we're looking at 4,250. That's where all of that damage is coming in, of course. And yeah, good progress on the character as a whole, of course. And he upgraded guild. Finally got rid of Voidgate, got into Hydrate. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know any of these guilds. Don't start any guild drama. But yes, so cool. I might be adding, yeah. So game changes are stages are going to change a lot with New Age because of the levels and the hyper burn and all of that. And I might be adding weapon attack as well. But as you guys know, the game is down right now, so I don't have any vantage points. I was going to add like 3.5 to 4K for level 270. So this seems like one data point that does point in that direction. But I think full 21 arcanes and like a bunch of 22s at 270 is probably still a bit earlier than most people. People would usually be higher level by the time they get this because people tend to grind more than he does. But yeah, all of that to the side. So if you like this session, great. If you need any of these resources, any of these things that we looked at or anything else, make sure you check the Twitch chat over at twitch.tv/Scardor and just put in !info or !commands and you'll get all of them, or put ! and then add whatever topic you're looking for and you'll probably get a command directed for that piece of information. If you like these sessions and you like one for yourself, check the description of the video or use !coaching over at Twitch. Because there's 3 ways of getting these sessions. One is by suction. One is by buying a session. The other one is by redeeming a session with your channel points if you're watching the stream for the people who are subscribed there, which is considerably cheaper. And the third one is by leaving a comment on this video saying that you would like to win and including your Discord name in there so I can reach out to you when you do win. We are reaching the end of June, so we are getting really soon close. I wanted to rhyme there for some reason. We're getting really close to drawing our 2 winners for June, so if you want to be one of them, make sure you leave a comment. Unless this video somehow gets uploaded in July, then you might have to wait a bit. But yeah, that's coming in soon, so hopefully you could be one of the lucky winners over there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you either... oh yeah, the timestamps stop at like 20 because we just talked about whatever. We didn't really have a set topic, so like the last hour of this session is just talking about whatever comes up, so no timestamps there, I'm sorry. Yes, all that being said, thank you for watching the video. Either check out another video or I'll see you in the chat maybe soon over at Scardor, twitch.tv/Scardor, where I stream every day. Thanks for checking it out.